Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our Thursday job search interview series here. We're doing these short and sweet little recordings. I'm Stephanie Smith, and this is Libby Magliolo, and we're sharing all of our tips and tricks to get you through all these little aspects of the big job search and interview prep. So today we're talking specifically about question preparation, and specifically the question, what is your greatest weakness? This is one I think that this is one of the ones people definitely have concerns about going in. I think people dread this one. They don't know how to handle this one. On one hand, if you go too strong in the weakness direction, you can feel like you're making yourself out to not sound like a competent person. If you go in the other direction, then you're just, not answering the question, sound like a politician. So, we want to make sure that we're giving a genuine answer here that similar to, tell me about a time when you, failed, or, when something didn't work out, or when you encountered something frustrating, or, sort of those types of questions, where we're looking for growth. We're looking for, something that, like a quality that you're working on redeeming. So this question is focused on self-awareness first and foremost. Are you aware of the areas where you struggle? And then the second handle is like, how are you handling it? So, if you, for instance, you can share something, you always want to have, and Libby keeps going back to the stories, you always want to have like a story where you can illustrate this kind of thing. So if you're a person that gets, like, you say, I'm very, I get enthusiastic about the big picture of a project. I'm like really excited to see things, through and get to the end. But I tend to have trouble along the way, really planning out the steps to get us to that deadline. Like, I have noticed that I struggle with this. It's that day in and day out, what do I have to accomplish today? And I had a couple of projects where it just did not go well. And it was a scramble at the end and a fire drill. It drove my team nuts. Like, you can kind of get into that and say, but, I found these tools. Like, I use Trello now. We use this project management software. Like, I have set reminders on my phone for myself, and it's still a struggle for me. Like, I still can get caught up in the big picture, but this keeps me on track and helps me manage it. And here's where we've seen, the successes. My last two projects went better. I've gotten great feedback from my team. My supervisor has given me, better feedback. My direct reports have given me better feedback. Everybody's happier. Like, you don't want to drone on and on here. Obviously, every interview question, we want to keep things, succinct and to the point and direct. But I think there's a lot of opportunity here to sort of think through, like, if we are really going to lay out where we struggle, we have to be willing to bookend that with how are we managing it. And if we're not managing it, that's where we got to start. Is we got to start with how can we manage what is a weakness for us. And you don't have to turn it into a strength, but find a way to support that and coax it along for our own professional development. So Libby, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and hear what you have to say about this tricky question.
Yeah, this can be a scary one. Talking about failures and talking about weaknesses is a tough one. What I would add to that is it's really, really key here to know the job description and know what they're looking for. If you are interviewing for a data analyst role, your greatest weakness cannot be data analytics. That's a big, big, big red flag. And Stephanie, what you touched on was kind of a softer skill, which I like, and taking steps to kind of remedy that softer skill. So I like that. If it's a harder skill, like, Excel is my weakness, as long as that's not a very key tenet of your job description, then that's fine. You can tell about the very hard tactical steps that you've taken. I took an intro Excel course. I have a mentor at work, whatever it is, but agree that this should highlight a weakness and then steps that you've taken. The pitfall here, and we've said it before, is this genuinely does have to be a weakness. This shows self-awareness. If you walk in and say, I don't really have any, I feel like I'm pretty good at everything, that shows a lack of self-awareness. And that is a pretty big warning sign, because if you don't have self-awareness in the interview, that means you're likely not going to have self-awareness in your role. And that might mean that you're a person who points the finger or shifts blame elsewhere. So you want to show that you're a person that can self-identify those weaknesses, take responsibility for those weaknesses, and then also take responsibility for the actions to remedy that. I think it also shows that you can be very collaborative and a team player, because when we have personal weaknesses, I think that shows that we can identify where others are strong in our areas of weakness. And so a possible answer can be, I'm not great at project management, like Stephanie said, but I have found that I need to seek out those who are really strong in it, and are, my skill set of XYZ really complements the project management skill set. So it's made me appreciate the skill in other people, and it's made me more reliant on my team and a more collaborative outcome. So like all questions, you can turn this into a positive. You can turn this to focus on the positive, just show how you've grown, and show how you can identify those weaknesses of yours. And you can also take responsibility for identifying an action plan in order to improve. So scary question, but you can take some very tactical steps to turn this into a positive, and paint things in a good light. So it doesn't have to be too scary of a question. Hope that was helpful. Please continue tuning in. We'll be sharing these tips every single Thursday. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.